Welcome back. In today's episode, we have the conclusion of the interview with Brad Davidson. In today's interview, he discusses how to do a 21-day metabolic reset, how to reset your body for optimal results.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performance Podcast
with your host, Thor Conklin.
Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Diet, as we talked about earlier, is so important. I'm starting to use my Fitness Pal by Under Armour, which has been nice. I'm starting to learn what foods I'm eating and what the macronutrients are, because I never really had an idea. What is 30, 6 ounces of chicken? What is that? How many calories in protein? What is it? And that's really starting to help me educate myself. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I've actually never learned how to count calories. I view that as the most meaningless part of nutrition. So I don't know. I mean, I could figure it out. Like if you had what do you say, 6 ounces of chicken?
Yes, 6 ounces of chickens. Chicken. What I was trying to figure out is I never understood that if I had, we all know, look, we can't eat the donuts and the Coke, right? I mean, that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But what does it mean to have a bowl of lasagna? What is the makeup of that? What is that? What does that equal? How many calories? How many grams of protein, fats, carbs? I just didn't have any idea. So I'm starting to learn that. But my question is, how do you get your clients to master the nutrition?
Make it as simple as possible. I really believe that we emphasize the details of nutrition, and that's what causes a lot of people to check out. Like I told you, I never learned how to count calories because I'm too ADD. I couldn't focus on it. I've never been able to use food logs or any of that stuff. And I've read some funny research where they actually had athletes at the Olympic Training Center basically put cameras up in the cafeteria. They had them eat the meal, write the food log, and then they took some of the athletes, put them on lie detector tests, and they all passed. They really believed what they wrote on that log is what they put in their mouth. Well, then you look at the videos compared to the food log, they were totally off. Like, we just don't grasp what we put in our mouth. So what I've done to make it easy is I just say, hey, look, okay, so if you're going to have one serving of carbs, it's about the size of your fist. So if you look at that bowl of pasta, like about how many fistfuls of pasta is that? And that's about so many. And so one fistful of carbs is usually about 40 grams if it's not a sugar-based carb. If I'm looking at protein, I'll do about the size of the palm. That's about 4 ounces of protein if it's about the size of your palm. So we know for every ounce, there's about 5 grams of protein. So that's about 4 ounces is about 20 grams of protein. So that's how I've built it. I just tell people, look, 2 palms of protein, 2 fists of carbs, and 2 fists of vegetables, for example, versus making them measure things and go into the details. And what I have actually found to be the best way to hold accountability to a good nutrition plan is not the food journal. It's actually taking pictures of your food and texting it to an accountability partner before you eat it.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I came across this a weird way. Gosh, it must have been a year or 2 ago. I had this female entrepreneur executive that traveled a lot. She hired me. I wrote a nutrition plan. Within a couple of days, I started getting pictures of her food. And at the time, I'm like, gosh, you're one of those. I mean, go post that stuff on social media. I don't need to see your food. And she says, no, wait, you got to listen. Like, I really struggle on the road with my food, but I know if I take a picture and send it to you, you're going to judge me. It makes me eat better. Please just let me do this for the first month. I said, okay. She got incredible results. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. So I started having all my clients do it. And I've learned this. We love to show off when we're right. We pretend like we forgot when we're wrong as high achievers. And so what I do is I give all of my clients a cheat night, Friday night for 3 hours. Whatever you want, there's no rules. Or Saturday night, whatever night works best for you. But during the week, I better get pictures of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you forget one, you lose your cheat window because I know you just took it. And my gosh, it has created the greatest shift in results from my high achievers. It's easy. It's accountable. It doesn't take much effort on their part. And then I see it. I can make adjustments to their food from a coaching standpoint so much easier than trying to hope what they put on that food log was what they put in their mouth.
Interesting. So they have to send it in for each time they're doing it? So throughout the day?
Yeah, first 30 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I got to see pictures of it.
Okay.
And if you miss one, you lose your cheat window. And boy, I tell you what, we value that cheat window so much that people follow through.
Now, they don't have to send you pictures of the cheat window.
No, but they totally do. Look at this. You can't say anything about this. Oh, look at this. Look at these waffles. And he's like, yeah, great. Enjoy it.
It's funny. As my diet gets better, when I have those cheat days, they hurt. I mean,
Yes,
literally, they just twist up my body. I'll wake up the next day and go, I feel like I have arthritis or something.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I love them and they have their place, is because what happens is over a week time period, you start having those cravings. And if you don't take the psychological break and allow them to happen, you're going to crack hard. So what I found, if I do a 3-hour cheat window starting at dinner on a Friday or Saturday night, it gives them a window of time to hit all the stuff they're craving. But the next morning, it's long enough time when they wake up the next morning, they feel like garbage, and it'll keep them on the plan long term. Yeah. And a lot of times they'll never want that food they had. They'll move on to something else.
Yeah. What I found also, and what's a big motivator for me to stick to a good diet, is that if I go out and I have something that isn't great, let's say processed high sugar food, then if I'm out, I'll want a cocktail. If I have a cocktail, then I want, some more kind of carby, high sugar food. And then the next day at lunchtime, it's like, I don't want chicken with a salad. I want a hamburger, French fries, and a Coke to kind of get my body back in balance.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the energy wasn't there, so I wasn't as productive at work.
Yeah, that's the one negative thing about cheat windows or cheat meals in general is that they'll throw you totally out of whack. So they're hard to recover from.
All right, so share with me some other tools and techniques that your clients have been using where they've been getting great results.
One of my favorite tools is setting a strategy up to start the day. I really believe how you start the day is how you finish the day. The whole idea of waking up at the last minute and rushing and being stressed, running out the door, trying to deal with traffic. When you start the day stressed, you're going to deal with the whole day stressed and end the day stressed. I love for my clients to wake up every morning and just go for a simple 20 to 30 minute walk. It is so powerful to take a walk outside if you can in nature. They have shown that to be huge for improving mood, for decompressing stress, for improving blood flow. I don't count walking as exercise. I count it as relaxation, stress reduction. I think people should do it every day. I find when my clients wake up, they go for that short walk. They take some time to focus on them first before they walk into their chaos. It's incredibly powerful. So that's one of my favorite tools to do first thing in the morning, right out of bed. Man, just grab a cup of coffee and go for a walk around the block. Or, if it's raining outside or humid outside, I have clients just buy like a treadmill or a bike or something they can have at their house. I have one of those old school Airdyne bikes that if the weather's bad, I just in my garage jump on that and we'll go. And it's just low level, super easy, very relaxing. Start the day calm. Your emotions will be in check. You'll handle the day better. And when you get to the end of the day, it's much easier to decompress and fall asleep.
That's great advice. A couple months ago, I'm always changing up my early morning success ritual. And since I started the podcast, I'm like, wait a second, I could actually record my own voice. So that's what I've done. I've actually recorded my own voice, and it brings me through a 30-minute process. And about 15 minutes of it is just me laying on the floor and just kind of stretching and meditating and just getting ready for it. It's got some of my favorite music on it. And I think that'd be a great idea because I can incorporate it by just going outside and taking a walk.
Yeah, I love those morning rituals. Mine is I wake up, I go for a walk, I come back, I meditate, I read, I do all the things I love to do first, and then I start my day. And it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour, but I get up at 5 a.m. because that time is so precious that it just works for me. And I just handle the day so much better, and I'm so much more productive when I do that versus sleeping in a little bit and cranking.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I get up at 4:59, and people say, "Why do you get up at 4:59?" I'm like, I want to beat all those slackers that sleep in until 5.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you fell into that one perfectly.
You got me. I love it.
But it's not, like today. I was out seeing my son at college this weekend. I was like, all right, it was 6 o'clock this morning, so I don't always do it. But getting up early, I think you're absolutely right. it sets the mood of the day right. Now, we have so many clients that are just type A personalities, and they just like hitting the ground immediately. It's like, let me just dive into the day. Yeah. And I think those are the most stressed clients out there.
Yeah. At the top level of anything, what separates the great from the good is the ability to recover, because those who can recover last the longest. And you can be super motivated and grind, but if you are not doing things to replenish your energy, to refuel yourself, you're going to run out of gas first. And the person who's taking better care of themselves is going to win. Yeah. I learned this early on working with fighters in MMA. And you got the greatest fighter on the face of the earth, but if he shows up to the match tired and my person shows up fresh and rested, they're just going to outlast them. And it's the same thing in the business world. I get that our people are type A driven. They want to just go. But, man, you're going to end early, and that's a problem.
Yeah, you look at professional athletes, look at sprinters compared to marathon runners.
Yeah.
Which body do you want, the sprinter or the marathon runner? And the sprinter's going hard, but then he's resting. It's not this constant under pressure.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been at that level with some of the stuff I've done in the past. Everybody thinks that all sprinters do is sprint. And in all reality, the great sprinters with great coaching, they spend a large majority of their time focused on enhancing their recovery. And this is where I learned all about HRV in the first place. They're only going hard and training hard on the days their body is fully primed and fueled and ready to train hard. If it's not, they will not train hard. How shocking is that?
Interesting.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time on enhancing recovery. They don't spend as much time as you think beating themselves into the ground with, sprint. It's very controlled. It's beautiful to watch.
Well, it's like professional football players. I mean, how much of an actual game are they actually working?
Right.
What is it? It was a small number. It was like, was it like 6 minutes or something that they're actually under, that they're actually engaged in moving during the game. It's a small, I forget the exact number, but it's really tiny.
I think the average play is somewhere between 5 and 8 seconds.
Right.
And then the work to rest ratio, they usually get like 7 to 10 seconds of rest for every 1 second of work. So majority of the time is downtime.
What are some of the best activities other than meditation and sleep that your executives use to de-stress or control this stress?
One that I'm a huge fan of is called Deprivation float tanks. This is my ultimate favorite. I learned about it through some Navy SEALs that I was put in touch with over in the East Coast. They are using it to help SEALs recover quicker. And it works really well for high-stress people that can't sleep or for people that have had any type of brain trauma. Maybe it's concussions, things like that. You literally lay in this tank of magnesium water so you float, so you're decompressing. It's pitch black and you can't hear anything. It's complete sensory deprivation. And what it does, it allows you to shift into that theta state, which is what's so good about meditation. But the problem with most type A high achievers is we can't get there. We can't shut our brains and they just go like crazy. And so we sit down and think about nothing. We think about everything. What I've learned about deprivation float tanks is that it just gets you there. Like you get to a point where you just don't even know if you're awake or asleep anymore. It's incredibly powerful. And I found if I get a high achiever in there first thing in the morning, they're incredibly creative. And then if I get them in there in the evening time, it really does a great job of dramatically improving their sleep. So that's probably the greatest thing that I've seen to date over the last 2 years in regards to incredibly powerful at decompressing stress and calming people down. It helps recover the brain, and it also drives much better sleep. Very quickly after a couple sessions, people notice their sleep is dramatically improved.
It's so funny that you say that because I just interviewed someone last week, and he's actually blind. And I didn't know it because if you look on his Facebook page, he's riding a horse and driving a car.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, I know. I thought he was blind in one eye. I found out that he was blind in both eyes.
Wow.
I'm like, Tanner, what are you doing? So we were talking. I don't know how it came up in the interview, but we both committed to doing the float tank. And that's so funny because it was literally 2 weeks ago. And I said, if you do it, I'll do it. He goes, I'm in. I said, well, I'm doing it as well. So now awesome. You mentioned it. Now I've got to book that appointment. So
you got to do it. It's I'll tell you up front. It's they're about 90 minutes in length. The first 10 minutes, you're constantly making sure the door opens. It's a weird experience. It takes a little while to get into it, but man, once you get through the first one, it just gets easier and easier, and you actually start craving them. And I've had some great success with high-achieving CEOs that were kind of dealing with burnout and extreme stress. It's amazing how fast it's calmed them down and reset their systems very quickly.
So tell the audience a little bit more about what you're doing, how they can get in touch with you, and et cetera.
Yeah, so I have a book out with Harper Collins called The Stark Naked 21-Day Metabolic Reset. That's my biggest project over this last year. It just came out this year. It's really focused on what I do with high achievers in the first 3 weeks. When they show up, we're beat up. And most of the time you show up to a trainer, nutritionist, and they just check your vitals, and next thing you know, you're getting the crap kicked out of you in the gym. I've learned that we are tore up, broke down. When you take your car to the shop and it's not working very well, you let them fix the problems first. You don't just take the car in and say, you know what, I don't care, the tires are flat, go soup up my engine, the thing's not working very well. But we tend to treat our cars better than our bodies. So it's the first 3 weeks, I call it a metabolic reset. We go in and we reset the metabolism. A lot of times I won't even let people do high intense exercise the first 3 weeks because it's damaging. So it's 3 weeks of what I do with them to reset the system, improve sleep, actually give back to the body. And then it moves into how do you actually optimize the metabolism and support it in a way that enhances your high stress lifestyle versus just wearing it out. So that's in play. I've recently started an 8-week platform called the Relax and Conquer Project, where it takes the 3 weeks of the book and then it follows it up with 5 weeks of optimization. It's a group program where there's a lot of optimization and a lot of accountability. And it's a trial program going on right now to validate that if we reset and then change lifestyle enough over 5 weeks, the results last a lifetime. That's my goal with that. So the trial program is going on now. That'll launch early January. And you can find more about me on my website, www.braddavidson.com. I do a lot of remote coaching. I speak all around the world. I do seminars and workshops for high-achieving organizations. It's usually the sales teams or the executive teams that get the most out of what I do because I drive energy. And then I'm on social media. Instagram is Relax and Conquer. My Facebook is Brad Davidson fan page. Twitter is Brad Davidson. Those are kind of the key areas where you can find me.
Oh, perfect. I appreciate that. You know, I'm getting ready to head out actually your way. I'm going to be spending almost a week with Mark Devine at Seal Fit.
Oh, you're going to love that. That's awesome. Are you doing the Kokora? Are you doing the Kokora camp?
No. I'm starting with the basic one.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think it's 4 days. It's kind of funny. Mark, I had the opportunity to have Mark at an event where I was his trainer for the week. And I said, now you're going to kick my butt for a week. And I said, I think I'm going to be worse to wear. You know, it's funny. Do you know Mark?
I never met him personally. I have some great friends that really know him, but I haven't actually made it down there yet. I've read all his books. I love what he teaches. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's got a great mindset. It starts off with a 45-minute plank. I'm like, oh. So any tips on recovery from this one?
Survive.
Motrin and jumping in the water. You know what? It was funny because when I first met Mark, I mean, he's in phenomenal shape. He's 52, 53.
Yeah.
And I was doing triathlons at the time, mid-range triathlons. I said, Mark, you know, you're in great shape. I said, do you ever do triathlons? And I didn't know what he did at the time. And he goes, yeah. He goes, when I was younger, my buddies and I used to do Ironmans for fun. And I'm like, Ironmans for fun? I'm like, what do you do? And he hands me his card and says, SEAL Fit. I'm like, oh, okay. You train Navy SEALs. But what was interesting is I started to dig into it. I always thought that they were throwing cold water on you, having you go into the Pacific Ocean just to kind of like break you down and torture you. Yeah. Well, it was all about inflammation. They were running hard. Then they were trying to control the inflammation. I was like, interesting. You know, and how often do we do things or there's things in our life that are actually good for us, but we have this meaning associated to it that, hey, this is not good, just like sleep. Yeah. You know, you need it. It's a vital part of the recovery system.
Yeah. I've learned so much after I got to work with a couple SEALs. I was like, wow, these people are so different, and there's so much you can learn from what they do and how they do it, because there is so much underneath of it that is such great science, but it seems brutal, like plunging in cold water. Like everybody thinks that's the one thing about the cryotherapy chambers that is really valid, is that it does bring down inflammation, which is huge. So yeah, they do some great stuff.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll give you an update when I get back
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome.
I know. I'm looking for. It was one of my top goals, because what really intrigued me was he said you're capable of doing 40% more of what you think you are physically.
Yeah.
And we go to the gym. We do. We participate in a sport or an activity, and we're like, we gave it our all.
Yeah.
And to think that I have another 40% available, I'm really looking forward to him bringing that out.
It's the mind holds back the body so much.
Yeah, look, most of the stuff that we do, it comes down. The strategy plays a key role, right?
Yeah.
But it's the mindset. That's the one that really controls whether we go or don't go.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be, I'm super jealous. That's one thing I want to get down and participate. I've had some clients, CrossFit professional athletes go through Kokora camp. And so I've just heard nothing but incredible things down there. So that's awesome.
Maybe next year for that one. I gotta make it through the baby course.
I'll let you go through that one before I ever think about it.
Well, Brad, thanks so much for your time today. And I'm sure the audience is going to get tremendous value out of this. Really appreciate it. And look forward to having you back on again.
Awesome. Thanks, Thor. I really appreciate the time. This was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Every peak performer that has ever lived or will live does one thing extremely well. They know how to take their ideas and execute on them. Ideas and knowledge are not power, but the ability to execute on them, that is real power. If you consider yourself a peak performer and really want to take your game to the next level and truly master the science of execution, I would like to send you some information about our upcoming event, Business Execution Summit. Simply take your phone and text the word BE Summit, one word, to 41411. And I'll send you some additional information on how to master the most important skill you will ever acquire for your life or your business. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.